What's going on, guys? My name is Eldeniro and welcome to a video that YouTube will absolutely not let me monetize. Basically, Pornhub have banned deepfakes, and this is currently in the news. A lot of you are wondering, why are you making a video about Pornhub? What the hell are deepfakes? Why are you making a video at all? You're a retired YouTuber. And those are all valid questions. So this is a significant moment, and I'll explain why shortly. But basically, what are deepfakes? Deepfakes are this new style of porn movie in which people use software to alter the face of the subject to look like anybody they want. So theoretically, you can watch any celebrity you want, any person you want, having sex or, you know, doing whatever, as long as you can source the material from the subject and feed the algorithm with these separate photographs of the subject that you want, or the celebrity that you want, or whatever it is. And it basically works with this kind of AI machine learning where it will actually learn how to get better over time. But you feed it all of these separate photographs or stills from a video or whatever, and over time it learns how to mask those faces onto the subject. So the idea with this is that over time it will actually train itself how to get better, and it will get better. This is a process that is very much in its infancy, and the problem with this kind of technology is that it will continue to grow and grow exponentially until it is perfected. That is definitely how technology works. That's how processes like these tend to work, and it's significant that Pornhub banned it because the porn industry actually has a history of determining the standard in lots of tech spaces. For example, the Super 8 camera was first used in some homemade porn movies in the 1950s, which led to a huge sales increase in the Super 8. Super 8s are kind of famous now because they were used by all budding film directors back in the day because they were inexpensive and they were easy to use. The porn industry also switched to VHS in the 1970s, which killed off Betamax. The guy who invented the concept of e-commerce, as in using cards online to purchase content, that was because of porn. And most recently, porn killed the DVD industry by embracing Blu-ray. So, was Pornhub right? I mean, even in the days of LimeWire, people uploaded videos of porn stars who looked like other celebrities, and they named it things like Trish Stratus gets fucked or whatever. These types of videos are still like rampantly available online. There are a lot of people who think they can find Miley Cyrus sex tapes or things like that. And this is actually a little bit different, because if this technology improves and it becomes impossible to identify the fakes, you could kind of use this power for anything. The difference between this type of technology and the sex tapes that are already out there that purport to be of celebrities is that you can see whether or not it's that celebrity. There's a person being the subject in that video who you can point to and say, that's a person who looks like Miley Cyrus, and they've titled this Miley Cyrus sex tape because they want to get more views or whatever it is. This is a lot different. The idea of this involves acting as if this actually is the person, and it also erases the original subject of the video. On a basic personal level, you could end someone's relationship by acting as if you have proof of infidelity using this technology. You could also use it as character assassination in an election race. You could use it for extortion. The number of criminal activities you could use this technology for are pretty much endless. Even if you take the technology out of the porn industry and show people saying things that they've never before said, this technology is currently being developed as well, aside from the porn industry. You could run a series of these programs in like a closed economy and show a bunch of world leaders agreeing with every single thing that you said. This is a really scary concept to me, and I can't really pinpoint why specifically, because I'm kind of assuming that this discussion was already had when the cassette tape was invented and people could just cut and paste things out of it. So you could have a sentence that said, I do not like him, and then just read it out in court as I like him. Something like that. I'm not sure if that discussion already happened, but the thing is that didn't lead to a wholesale change in the industry and the way that things work. Like the idea of Barack Obama being seen in an interview praising Vladimir Putin or something like that. You could basically edit previous interviews of people saying different things and saying the wrong things, or saying things that completely contradict their entire stance. So recently we had a Super Bowl commercial with Martin Luther King basically going on about how much he loves capitalism or whatever. And basically on Martin Luther King Day recently, you had a whole host of people across a spectrum of political ideologies hand-picking quotes used by Martin Luther King to basically further their own agenda. Imagine if they changed the quotes to mean something else. Imagine if there was video evidence of Martin Luther King saying black people are actually inferior to whites or something like that. It's really troubling that this type of technology is bubbling so close to the surface. We already live in a world where, in spite of objective facts being more abundant than at any time in history, people have formed ideological bubbles around their social circles and rarely listen to opposing arguments. I can say that because I was one of those people until quite recently. This means that people think they have the world figured out, even though they've never heard a single counter argument, let alone investigated one. Basically, people already kind of live in their own version of reality, and that's without the ability to literally construct one. With concepts like post-truth and alternate facts entering the zeitgeist over the last year, it seems like the introduction of deepfakes is only going to add fuel to that fire even more. And there's another creepy element to this that is not really being discussed, but I think is relevant. If you took an underage girl and mapped her face onto the body of a petite porn star, have you just made child porn? Like, there's just some kind of line here, ethically speaking, that is being crossed, and it's really hard to explain, but you basically should... People own the rights to intellectual property, they own the rights to their brands, they own the rights to things like that. Like, people must therefore own the rights to their own face. Like, this has to work in that way, and I don't know, I'm racking my brain trying to figure out what specifically makes it so awful, apart from the fact that it's kind of like identity theft, you know, you're like all of these, the way that it is now, it's seedy, but it doesn't seem to be overly dangerous because the videos are so obviously fake. But when they're not fake anymore, when they don't look fake anymore, I don't know, just the underbelly that's going to create, it seems to be making a roadmap for a future that I don't think society will really benefit from. And if you look at the possible negatives, they are infinitely greater than the positives. In fact, I cannot even name a single positive beyond, like, you know, some kind of weird personal satisfaction that someone can get but never really tell anyone about. I don't know. It's a really, really weird situation. So I commend Pornhub for taking the stance that they have done. Hopefully other, you know, industry conglomerates will follow that kind of example, and hopefully the porn industry can continue to influence the world of tech in a slightly different way this time. I do think it's significant that, firstly, this technology comes along and people are like, oh, look at this technology, and the first thing people do is, yep, porn, we're going to make porn with it, that's great, thanks for coming up with this thing, we're going to use it for porn now. So you know, in an ideal world, it would stay in the realm of porn and not bridge into like identity theft of some kind, but I don't know, I'm definitely worried about this thing. If you guys want to hear me talk about artificial intelligence and why the advancement of AI could potentially be bad or even good or even the best thing that's ever happened to humanity, I will leave a link to the artificial intelligence podcast I did on the Midnight Hour in the description, so check that out if that's something that interests you. Other than that, thanks for watching. Maybe there'll be more videos soon. I've been El Dinero. Fuck this.